Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be back with this video, and in this video I wanted to talk about solar flares and solar storms and their effects on planet Earth, but of course on us as well. As you may know, they have been ongoing now for quite some time, and they have been intensifying and have become more frequent since the beginning also of the year 2023. So currently I think there are solar flares each week and that's why sometimes we feel a little bit unstable, and I will get into that in a minute. You may have seen images of solar flares, and there are like eruptions, you know, like there's a kind of smoke or gas that comes out of the sun, and that's when there's this energy coming out, and then it's kind of pours into the magnetic field of planet Earth and into our magnetic fields, of course, too. And I see them as particles of light raining down into the magnetic field of planet Earth. And when you also see an image of the sun, you can see that the sun has spots, so the sunspots on the sun, basically. And in order to predict when a solar flare is coming, is focusing on those sunspots and seeing that they become larger and larger, and that's the sign that there's a solar storm coming. And currently, apparently, they are so big, these sunspots, that you can actually see them without a telescope. And that's also why I think that there's a lot of agitation and a lot of, restlessness in the air, and that's actually sometimes the sign that there is a solar flare, a solar storm going on. So for example, when we feel kind of very impulsive, or we feel that there's a very strong energy coming up, and strong emotions are coming up, and we feel restless, and sometimes we may even feel aggressive, or we may witness people being very aggressive in our environment and society in general. So that's really a sign that solar flares are kicking in. And also they are intensified by actually the lunar cycles, so during the full moon cycle and also the new moon cycle, and also during eclipses. And we've had some eclipses right now, whether they're lunar or solar eclipses. There's also an upcoming one on the 20th of April. The energy that comes out of the sun is actually the energy and the frequencies, the high frequencies that are coming from the great central sun, which is source consciousness, it's cosmic consciousness. So cosmic consciousness comes through our sun, of our solar system, and then the sun actually pours that energy onto the earth plane. And it's really interesting to watch that it also works with cycles. So you may have known about the precession of the equinoxes, which are very, very important cycles, and the ancient ones have often talked about those cycles throughout history, and these cycles are approximately 24 to 26,000 years. And that's when the sun aligns with the center of the galaxy. And you can imagine what happens when this occurs. So we can really imagine that sun, coming in alignment, which means that it's almost like a highway for high energy to come in, to stream in. And that's why we are feeling quite a bit of intensity. And also this relates to, the famous Mayan calendar of 2012. That's actually when the cycle begun. So it was not the end of the world, it's when the cycle begins. And this is why we have been experiencing more and more of these episodes since then. And of course, they will be ongoing in the coming months, but also years on Earth. What is also interesting is to see these different ages that are going on, these yugas, as ancient Hindus call them. And it is said that we are currently in the Kali Yuga. And the Kali Yuga is the darkest age, it's the first level. It's when man isn't aware of anything else than matter, the material physical world. But actually, there's a mistake there, because we are not in Kali Yuga anymore. We are in Dwapara Yuga, which is the second level, which is the level where man awakens to the spiritual realm, awakens his spiritual consciousness, and becomes aware that of the subtle realm, and that the subtle realm is actually creating the physical realm. So this is why, the Dwapara Yuga started in 1894, and this is why during the 20th century we had this big boom of quantum physics, anything that is related to vibration, frequency, ultrasound, ultraviolet, etc., etc. And there has been this mistake actually in the interpretation of these years of the Kali Yuga. This is why some people think we are still in it. But the mistake is that they actually calculated the years in divine years, but not in earthly years. And so they came up with the Kali Yuga should be like 400,000 years long. 400,000 years long of darkness. No, thank you. So it's a blessing that it's actually a mistake, and that we are now in the second level in the Dwapara Yuga. I like to explain things using analogy and metaphor. So when I'm going to explain the effects of the solar flares on us, I'm going to use an analogy. So imagine that you are in a dark room and you turn on the lights, and you have this light bulb in the middle of the room. You will see that all the insects are really attracted to that light bulb. They will really come to stick with that light bulb. They will be, turning around, flying around, but also they feel very agitated. They are agitated by the light because the light blinds them in a way. And unfortunately, also sometimes the light might burn them. So we see sometimes insects that are being burnt by the light. And these insects relate to our own shadow self, our own ego. So that's why when there is this light coming in, this very strong influx of light coming in, we feel agitated, we feel restless, we feel sometimes aggressive, we feel blinded also by reality. But this is really just allowing us to integrate those parts, to dissolve them into the light so we can be one with the light again. And this also reminds me of the first mystical experience that I had during my first awakening in 2007. And it was such a strong image that I got, I could never forget it. I really felt this, this call towards source. And I had this image of this huge oven, like a big sun, because it was filled with lights. And I could see us, all these souls, bumping into that oven, trying to get in because we want to be one with it. We want to be one with Source. And we also want to understand what is Source. So when we look beyond the restlessness, beyond our ego minds, what do we find? We find this calmness, we find this peace inside, we find our inner consciousness, our soul, the observer, that is only observing this agitation that happens all around us. And I also felt that the sun is becoming very, very important for us, that we should really be in alignment with the sun, we should feel the sun, we should become the sun. And in the end, this light that we are attracted to, like the insects are attracted to the light bulb, it's the light of Source, it's the light of God, and it's the light of God that is calling us. It's calling us home. It's calling us to His love, to His peace, to His wisdom. It's calling us to be one with all of that, to be one with Him. And when we bathe into that light, when we bathe into His light, we actually see that it's our own inner light that we are bathing in. It's our own inner consciousness. And so we are centered in that light. We are in alignment with ourselves and with the cosmos. And it's really beautiful to feel that, and to feel that light expanding and spreading, in our entire being, and showing us who we truly are, because we are integrating fully into that light. There's also this transition happening, we are in this season of transition. Spring and autumn are seasons of transition. And we are being called by the light while we remain in our incarnated bodies, but some souls are called by the light to pass to the other side, to go back to the spiritual realms. And so we might witness a lot of souls leaving us right now, leaving the earth plane. As you know, there is this evolution in consciousness, and they are moving to a different plane of consciousness. Some of them are going to continue to support us and help us on earth. And I just wish to dedicate this video to a very dear friend of mine who just passed. And she is a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I'm at the same time sad, but also truly happy that she is liberated. And she has such a big heart that I'm sure that she will continue to support us and encourage us and help us from the other side. And she's actually the one who bought very kindly my camera so I could film these videos. So I really bless her soul, and I thank her so much for being present in my life. Also, I wanted to invite you to a guided meditation. I will be offering this on my channel on the 20th of April at 7 p.m. Paris time. It's been a while since I've been offering these, I haven't offered these meditations, so I'm really happy to do that. And it's going to be a meditation that's going to really help us to center ourselves, to find that peace within, so we can also spread that peace in our environment and into the world. And God knows how much the world needs peace right now. So that will be on the 20th of April, the day of the solar eclipse at 7 p.m. Paris time. Please join us in this collective guided meditation that I will be so happy to share with you all. Sat Nam, take care.